This will be a great session. I hope.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be a great
definitely
session.
will be.
Definitely will be. There you go. Good salesman. No, it'll be good.
Okay. So YouTube Live is going. We've already got some people on there. And
Okay.
Ryan, once you start sharing your screen and everyone else is muted, including Tracy, then your window will pop up as the main speaker. If you don't have any other questions, Ryan, you are now the host, and I'm out. Have an incredible session, guys.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tracy, you can see my screen okay?
I can, yes.
The one I'm sharing?
Yep.
Awesome. All right. I'll kind of scroll through here and see if there's any friends I recognize. Wow. Morning, everybody. All right. Looking for. Well, holy cow.
We're already at 92.
Can you believe that? While we're just sitting here, make sure you have the Pear Deck add-on, and Pear Deck has graciously given away free upgrades during the COVID-19. So you can grab your free upgrade code here. All right. Make sure we got that going. Got the chat going. Feeling good about that. Chat's flying around. Can we do this even if you have grabbed our screen? Don't know what that's asking. Can someone, the CEU link, yeah, we can throw it in the chat.
And I think too, Brad said that it's now on the website.
All right.
And let me find your.
Ooh. Man, so many friends here today. I love seeing when people turn their video on. Oh, I see a matching t-shirt. Yes, let's go. Cool. Tell us the story of where you got your t-shirt in the chat. I'm so curious. All right. Hey, friends.
Someone has the same t-shirt on as you?
Yeah, it's like the Pear Deck shirt. I don't know. It's awesome. All right.
Hi, Ryan.
Hey, is that my friend Sean?
I'm here.
Hey, you know, Sean, one unexpected, well, maybe expected for someone that was thinking about it more than I was, travesty, I think would be the right word, about distance ed, is all my dad joke material has gone really stale.
Same audience.
The same audience, you know?
Yeah,
I usually milk those things pretty good, but my kids, I mean, they used to just kind of groan, but now it's like real.
Yeah.
Now they're just really sick of it. I don't have access to all my kids anymore at school, and that's
Right.
where I like. That's where I keep the material fresh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
well, the good news here is we're already up to 170 people in this room, so you've got a whole new audience for dad jokes.
that's what I need. Oh, Melanie, old friend, good to see you, bud. That's fun.
And it is the top of the hour, so I'm going to mute myself, and I'm going to, sorry, I don't have my video on. That's ridiculous. I was talking to you without my video. That's mean. Hi.
I know what you look like.
Yeah, that's good. Have a great session. They go quick. Have fun.
Thanks, Sean. Hey, I was just telling Sean, everyone, that I have run out of dad joke material. The one that I've been going to over and over again is why can't the toilet paper cross the road? Get stuck in the crack. And yes, Tracy. So if you have some good dad jokes, feel free to throw them in the chat. I could use some fresh material, as you can tell. So while you're waiting here, grab the Pear Deck add-on for Google Slides. Pear Deck at bit.ly/mndl. Stay connected. There's a free upgrade there. There is a GIF here that shows you. Oops, I'll go back. That shows you how to do it, how to add the Pear Deck. Otherwise, there's a link in my presenter info sheet that'll take you right to it. So essentially, you go to Open Slides, Add-ons, Get New Add-on, search for Pear Deck. So this is me. I am Ryan Clark. Today I'm talking about Pear Deck and Google Meet. It feels a bit disingenuous to talk about Google Meet while I'm presenting in Zoom, but I assure you they essentially work the same way. Pear Deck is a great tool both for, especially for synchronous learning in your classroom and in distance ed, but it's also has some great functionality to use in an asynchronous way. So I'm Ryan Clark. I'm from White Bear Lake, Minnesota. I'm currently an instructional coach. I want to assure you that today's session is recorded. And so if it feels like we're going too fast, you can always circle back and check out the clicks again later. I also want to say that I am going to focus a bit on taking you through some of the technical clicks of Pear Deck today. But the best way to learn Pear Deck is not to sit and listen to me talk about it. It is to get into the tool and click and do it yourself. So we'll have a little bit of playtime towards the end. And at the end of the session, we'll open up a little lounge area where I'll join. And you can join me there too. You can kind of think of it as like a Pear Deck happy hour, if that will help drive attendance there. CEUs for today's session are available all over our website, MNDL session website. I'm sure you are familiar with that by now. And let's see. I am not the only one here.
Ryan,
I have a good friend.
Ryan,
Tracy
can I just jump in for 1 second? Just to say
Great
that
transition.
I did in the chat, put the CEU link. I did in the chat put your notes, and there are a bunch of questions already popping up about where do you get this? What does this look like? And I think those questions will be answered in the session. So just hold those questions. But at the end, if you still have that question, we'll take them towards the end. So we'll let Ryan share his knowledge and all of his great things with us about Pear Deck, and then we'll kind of deal with those at the end. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Okay.
I
There
have
are
a
a few ways they can
question.
get 'em. If they go on the presenter doc, they can click the link to grab the add-on and click the link to get instant access to the premium features. So I'm not the only one here today. Tracy's here. You just heard her. She has a few jobs. One is to monitor the chat, and the other is to keep me in check. That if I go too fast, she's going to slow me down. If I tell more dad jokes, she's going to laugh. Just kind of keep us going here. So you've met me. I'd like to meet you. So in our chat, why don't you tell me who you are, where you're from, and one upcoming session that you're looking forward to. Ooh, Jamie.
Oh, that's Ryan. Crap.
Falls here all over.
I actually lost you when I clicked on something. All I see are the thumbnails on the side, and I can't see the Zoom screen and I can't get to the chat or anything like that. What am I doing wrong?
Gwen, thank you for
Yes.
that. I'm going to direct you to our norms that are coming up next. We'll do chats kind of in the questions, and Tracy can kind of help do some technical support there.
I can't see chats right now.
So why don't you go, what I imagine you to do is, are you running the Zoom app? or like is?
I'm on my Mac
Hey,
computer.
Gwen,
so
this
the-
is Sean, and I'm one of the founders of this. And so if you're unable to find the chat and things now, well, these are going to be recorded, so you'll be able to get back to some of the information. And if you're having trouble with the Zoom app, you can always join on the YouTube live session.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right on. Hey, so we'll have a few other kind of norms as we make the best of our hour here together. The first is let's leave everyone on muted audio. If you have questions, let's use the chat function there. As soon as all this slows down from everyone telling us where they're from, that'd be a good place for us to monitor. We have Tracy here to help with that. And let's embrace the mindset of learn by doing as we get into the tool. Our goal today is to experience Pear Deck from the perspective of a student, experiment with building a Pear Deck, and explore how we can use Pear Deck in a distance education environment. My plan is, here's kind of the roadmap of our session. I'm going to model it and let you experience it from the perspective of a student. We're going to workshop a few of the basic functions on how to build it, and then we're going to provide some post-session attainable goals for you to try out. So, Pear Deck at its core is an audience response tool. It allows the teacher to get some student interactivity during their session, some back and forth with students. And their tagline is powerful learning moments for every student every day. And so why I choose it, why I love it, why I present on it is the formative assessment data that I get back from students is really digestible in the moment. So it's for my money, it's the tool that I can use the best to shape my instruction in the moment. And I'll show you a few of those strategies coming up in our session here. So if you can see my screen here, I am just in a Google slide deck. I have the Pear Deck add-on here. If you'd like it, you can open up a Google slide deck, go to add-ons and get add-ons. When this pops up, you'll see I have Pear Deck installed. You can search for Pear Deck up here. Once you want it, you just kind of click on it, install it. You see I already have it, but you would click install right here. Once you have the add-on in Google Slides, if you want to present with it like I'm about to do, you would go add-ons, Pear Deck for Google Slides add-on, open Pear Deck add-on. And you'll see this little sidebar pop up on the right side of your screen. I'm going to start my session here in just a second and let you join my session as if you were a student. But while I have the sidebar up, I'm going to direct your attention to a few things. I love this Pear Deck template library. It comes with pre-made Pear Deck slides. Let me click into it and just show you a few options you have. These are some pre-made bell ringers, some things that might be an anticipatory set to your lesson, something to warm your audience up. These are kind of some dipsticks or check for understandings throughout the middle of your lesson. And then these are for your exit tickets or your check for understandings at the end, maybe to gather some data about where to start your next lesson. There's also some thematic groups of lessons. And so these are some critical thinking questions. If I click in here, I can see a bunch of kind of metacognitive type questions. And so if I wanted to add one, like make connections here, it's as simple as clicking, and then it'll pop into my session here. Boop, right, and now I have it in. Any of these pre-made slides are editable, right? So it's all text and images that I can put my own phrasing in, or drag and drop, or you know, any of these text boxes are, you know, I can make it smaller, or I can type in if I was doing a science lesson. Is that how you spell plate tectonics? It feels like it is. All right, so everything's editable there. I don't actually want that slide, so I'll get rid of it. And there's also some subject-specific type questions for littles, for math, science, social, language arts, ELA. Lots of these one-click add that slide to your session. It might be a good place to start for you to have a first slide to then edit and make it your own. Okay, I'm gonna go back into our side template here, and those are side panel. Those are pre-made slides, but you can also make your own slide. So with Pear Deck, you can make any slide interactive. Here's a few types of questions. I can make it a free response question, so a short answer question by clicking this. I can make it an open-end or a multiple choice question by clicking this. I can make it a guess a number question. I can do a drawing question or a draggable question if I have the premium upgrade, or I can direct students to a website, right? And so that's as simple as if I wanted this session here to be a multiple choice or maybe a free response question, all I do is click that button. And now, once I start presenting this this slide deck, students would be directed to write a short answer response to that question, right? So this kind of gives me a little more power to create my own slide deck. This is a brand new feature from Pear Deck. It's adding audio. I'll model that in a minute, but remember it here. We're going to come back to it. It's great for when we have a student-paced lesson. I'll clarify that in just a minute, right? And then this last one I'm going to show you is if you'd like a resource for digital citizenship, Pear Deck has teamed up with Be Internet Awesome with Google for this great digital citizenship curriculum, and they have pre-made slide decks in Pear Deck that you can use. So without further ado, let's jump into Pear Deck. I'm going to start my lesson here. And you'll see here my first choice is a student-based paced activity or an instructor-paced activity. The difference here is with student-paced, students can click through the slides at their own rate. With an instructor-paced, everyone goes at my rate. And so as I progress the slides, your screen would change. I would suggest instructor-based is great for synchronous learning if we're all live together, like now. And student-paced is great for anything that is done at the student's own time. So if it's a slide deck that you wanted them to access later in the day, student-paced mode is a great option for that. You can absolutely toggle between the two while you have a session going. So I just started my Pear Deck session. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to invite everyone on our call here to join our Pear Deck session. To do that, go to joinpd.com. I'm going to pull this dashboard over here. Joinpd.com. Once you get there, you'll see this 5-letter join code, DVNWS, that you can use to join Pear Deck. So I see that we're already connecting. I've got about, I can see 16 people connecting so far. And that number is quickly growing. There we go. All right. Now, while I'm here, I'm going to show you a few things on this screen. Here is where I can see that I now have 90 people in this Pear Deck. Here, if you turn on the Google Classroom integration, I can invite my Google Classroom class so that instead of typing in DVNWS, they just click accept and they're in my Pear Deck. The next is I can send my students a link. I'm actually going to grab that now so that I can show you what the student facing experience looks like. I'll throw that right up here. And the last one is the teacher dashboard. This is really the heart and soul of Pear Deck. This is where I can, I have a lot of controls where I can see student responses, where I can really drive the session based on the data I get back. So you saw it pop up already. One way to open the teacher dashboard is just to click there. And then you'll see as this loads that I'll be able, this is where I'll be able to see student responses, right? So one thing that can be a bit confusing about Pear Deck is that there are 3 screens, right? And so the first screen is what students see on their device, right? As they join, like you see the student facing screen, right? That's personal only to you. The next screen, that screen looks like this. This is what a student sees, right? They log in. as I progress as the instructor in an instructor-based lesson, this slide also progresses, right? That's one screen. The second screen is the class-facing screen. And in a distance learning environment, that is the screen that I would share, right? And so you will see that right here. This is what the class will see. Let's do this. Let's go. All right. And then let's see. Oops, my light just turned off in here. All right. And the next one is my teacher dashboard. And that's the really important one. All right. So let's keep progressing. Here's our first example of an interactive question. I'm asking everyone in our Pear Deck what they already know about Pear Deck. And I'm going to take you behind the curtain a little bit and let you see what the teacher sees. All right, so as my students are filling this out, I see that in our audience, about half of us are brand new to it, and the majority of us haven't used it yet, right? So that helps me drive my instruction today based on our audience. Let's get this out of here, right?
Ryan,
Yeah.
One question in the chat was, can the students see each other's short answers or just the teacher?
That's a great question. So I have control over that, right? And so students, whatever goes on the main screen, so I'm going to do a little tab management here. Get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this, right? So here's what a student sees, right? I know Pear Deck and I love it, so that's where I'm answering. Here is the screen that I would normally present to my audience, right? You'll see right here that everything's anonymous. It's always anonymous on the screen and nothing is shown yet. I'm going to pull over my my teacher dashboard and show you this button right down here. It's called Show Responses. Now I'm the only one that gets to see this teacher dashboard. I'm letting you see it now because I'm showing you the tool, but students normally wouldn't see this. I'm going to click Show Responses, and then you'll see on the class screen, you get to see what students are responding, right? And that's something that I've chosen. So let's check out another style of question that students can interact with. I want you to drag your magnifying glass over the adverb of each session. All right. And I am seeing us all over right now, which is cool. All right. Let's do this. All right. Here's another style of question I can model here. This is a number question. All right, so it's going to ask you to respond. Is this not? Are you not seeing the number question? I feel like I'm going really slow on my end. Everything is just kind of lagging. There we are. Oh my.
Ryan, we weren't able to see what this screen looked like from your point of view on the one where we drug the magnifying glasses over. What does that look like from a teacher?
Sure. Let me show you that because there's a few great options. You'll have to bear with me. I'm clicking on it. It's just kind of lagging on me. Shoot. Come on.
You're just trying to show what you would do in the classroom when this happens in the classroom,
Yeah.
because of course.
So normally
gonna
my go-to is dad jokes, like I was saying.
Someone had a really good one in the chat. I'll share it later.
Let's see. I wonder if it's because I have so many people in the audience. Awesome. Okay, well, I'll come back to, I'll get that screen going in a second. I don't know why it's just spinning on me.
Ryan,
But
one question people were asking about the teacher dashboard was, how do you kind of manage what the students see and then the teacher dashboard?
Awesome. So this screen here that's spinning is the projector screen. That's what everyone in the audience normally gets to see. On my end, I see this teacher dashboard, and there's a lot of great controls here. You'll see right now that everyone on my end, I can see where everyone is responding, right? So I hover over a name, it tells me who that is, right? Up here on the top left, there are a few view options, right? This is the overlay option, which shows everyone on top of each other, right? And that's a really cool function. One way I've seen that used really well is in art class or in photography class. I saw a teacher ask, where is your eye drawn in this picture? And then everyone got to kind of pull their dot to kind of for them to respond where their eyes were drawn in that picture. This also works great. I've seen some questions about plate tectonics and like, here's a map of the world, draw where the ring of fire is, and then everyone kind of writes their answer in there. So this is everyone on top of each other. This is the grid layout, where you can just see a picture of everyone's, there you go. You can see every one person's screen. And then this is list layout, where everyone's just listed down in a line. Now, if I was on this grid layout screen and I had someone like Tracy Beaverson who was writing some really naughty answers on my Pear deck, and I didn't want those naughty answers to be presented, in these the three dots here, I can click and go to hide response. Now, Tracy could still respond. It just wouldn't show up. I would see what Tracy responded, but the rest of the audience wouldn't. Now, if I want to show just a handful of students what they responded, I could click on these stars, and that would show what Terry and what Corey, when I hit show responses in the bottom right, it would only show what they had responded. This is awesome. All right. So I love that function of Pear Deck, right? I have a lot of control as the teacher for that. So let's try this. Here's the presentation screen. Estimate how many jelly beans you could fit in that mason jar, right? You tell me. All right, I'm gonna try one thing here. Jump into a hotspot. See if this might help us out a little bit. All right, once I get my responses from that question, I might ask for students to tell me more, right? Explain your thinking. Tell me how you got to that type question. And one way I can do that strategy is by preloading another question like this that says, how did you decide? Explain your thinking. And is that not showing up here? Come on, guys. Let's do this. Oh, come on.
Morning, Ryan. This is Sean again. And
Hey, Sean.
I want to reassure you and pat you on the back and say, we know that this is the kind of thing that happens, especially if you're running a free summit from across the state. And so don't sweat it. We know that this is the potential of this little experiment we're running today. Remember, everybody else who's playing along, we started planning this amazing opportunity 13 days ago. And Ryan jumped on board, I think 4 days ago. So this is awesome. We appreciate you. So I get it, man. I get that slow.
Hey, it looks
internet.
like the hotspot might be working a little better here. So I at least I'm seeing some audience responses on my end.
Cool.
Right. So that's good. Here we go. See if we can get it going here. So I'm going to demonstrate quickly what I see on my end. It's a quick number line. We got some pretty crazy guesses, right? That's skewing our data. If I'm in the overlay mode, I can also click here to grid mode, and I would start to see individual guesses. If I'm like, wow, Brad, that's a great guess. I can do something like this, select Brad, and then click show responses. And now on the screen that everyone sees, you see one answer, but you don't know it's Brad. Only I know it's Brad. So then I might say, hey, here's a kind of a guess that's maybe in the average of our group. You know, if seeing your peer guess 298, do you think it's more or less than your peer, right? And then I might ask something like, how did you decide on that number? Explain your thinking. Tell me how you got to that answer. Kind of explain your process, right? And students might have that. They might be able to explain their thinking there. And sometimes I can plan ahead for that. But sometimes that kind of opportunity presents itself in a way that I wasn't planning for. And so I want to be agile and flexible in the moment to capture that thinking. And so I want to show you right down here in the bottom right of the teacher dashboard, there's a button called New Prompt. And I love this button, right? When I click that button, I can pull in new questions in the moment, like in the nick of time. So here are some of the pre-made questions that are great. And here are some other pre-made questions that are great, but I love these all the way on the right. When you're in the moment, you don't always get to design the slide, right? So you have to kind of give directions audibly, but I might say, you know, I might do the same thing in the moment and pull up a short response question that says, explain your thinking, tell me more, right? And that feedback loop is really where we start to get students to think at deeper levels, right? So we love that feedback loop. And so I'm gonna show you that. Here's another type of question, label the parts of a cell. And so you'll see you have a little drawing dashboard on the bottom. I'll kind of show you on my screen what you can do. Here's the text button. That seems to be the easiest, right? And so if you click text and then click on the screen, then you can write. Is that how you spell mitochondria? Mr. Schleichhuber, my 7th grade science teacher, would be rolling in his grave if he saw me doing science right now. So you can do that, right? And draw on the slide. Now, I'm going to slide back to the teacher dash and show you, sometimes I don't want to give students all day to figure things out, right? And so one nice tool, if I want to capture my students' attention, if they're all busy drawing something creative, I want to say, wait, quick direction. I can pause you right now with the lock screen. I can also give them a little timer. So I can say something like, hey, in the next 30 seconds, show me, you know, try to label these parts of the cell, or draw this picture, or answer this question. And you'll see a little timer show up on their screen that says, in this amount of time, we're moving forward. So kind of, you know, pace yourself that way on that little countdown, right? And so let's see how we're doing here on our responses.
And Ryan, for a question like that, that you may want to then save student responses, do you get to that later on, how you can save it and look at them?
Yeah. So there is at the very end of a session, you can export it into a Google Sheet. I'll show you how to do that. And then you can always keep it live on the Pear Deck website. You can go back and check through responses that way.
And
I'll show you
Ryan,
that.
just
So
so you
here's
know too, you're getting lots of love in the chat. So people are liking it, very excited.
Good.
They totally get it and are with you.
Right on. I super appreciate that. Got to be flexible. All right. So here's another option to post a flag in Algeria. Oops, didn't want to do that. So, oh my goodness, delay is making it really difficult. So here you can just kind of say like, oh, Algeria is in Madagascar. It's not. All right. So a few things to talk about with Pear Deck. Joining experiences, right? So we talked, you guys all signed in with the 5 letters. Come on. You guys all joined in with the 5 letters. There's a few different slide types that we kind of modeled. I've shown you some of the presenter tools at the bottom. And then we talked about the 3 screens: the student-facing screen, the teacher dashboard screen, and the class-facing screen, right? All right. So I am going to, what is going on here? All right. What I'm going to do, not this again, is I want you to tell me if you're ready to move on to trying to build your first Pear Deck, right? So you can drag your little. All right. Let's pause here. Before we do that, one thing I want to demonstrate is that Pear Deck can be a synchronous tool. It can also be a asynchronous tool. So one thing we can do is to turn on student paced mode, which will allow each user to take control of their own screen and progress through the slides at the rate they want to progress through them, right? And so I'm going to go to do that. I'm going to click on these 3 dots at the bottom, and I'm going to turn on student paced mode. And so I'm going to give up control to the rest of my audience and let them click through the slides as they want. So as they answer a question, they can progress through the next slide. If you'd like to just have this be student paced mode, one thing you can do is share this link here at the bottom with your class, right? So if you send that out to your class, this will take them to the Pear Deck, and then they can then access it that way, right? So as I have it on student paced mode, okay, got it. You are now able to click through it without me directing you. I can see it's on student paced mode here on the bottom of my screen because it says student paced mode here. There's also a button down here that says stop student paced mode, right? And so if I want to turn it back into teacher paced mode, that's the way I can do it, right? So I'll give you guys kind of a couple of minutes to click through the next few questions and answer them at your own rate. I'm going to set.
Hey, Ryan.
Yeah.
Why did Tigger look in the toilet?
To find his friend.
Yeah.
That's a great dad joke.
To find poo. That was in the chat way earlier.
Love it.
One question is, if you stop student mode and they are farther ahead, do they go back to your slide?
Yeah. Yep. And so I'll model that in just a second.
Okay. And could the student paced mode be shared on Seesaw? Can you share
Sure.
that link in another platform?
Absolutely. Yeah. I use Classroom a lot, but I'll throw it right there in Classroom for sure. But you can do the same thing in Seesaw or any LMS that you're using. All right. Let's try this. All right. Come on.
What about Pear Deck on iPads? There was a few questions about iPad friendly.
Yeah, it's super iPad friendly. You know, it's device agnostic. So any device that has the internet, you can just go to joinpd.com and log it in. All right. So I'm going to pause this here. I'm going to turn off student pace mode. All right. And I'm going to progress us to where I want us to be. Hey, throw in the chat. Did anybody have a chance to click on the audio included here? I love this new function from Pear Deck. Teachers are empowered to create audio in their slide. And then if students are going through student pace mode, they can kind of read the directions on the screen but they can also hear from their teacher, which is just a great scaffold for all learners, right? To make sure that they're tracking with the directions you want them to have. You know, you can record for quite a few minutes, but I would really recommend keeping that short and sweet, around the 1 minute to 90-second mark. Much more than that, I think you start to lose your audience. So I'm going to progress down here after we've had a chance to see a few options. Cool. All right. And so why is that happening? Okay, get to my slide here. There we go. I think that there's such a lag that it's not tracking my clicks here as I get to my right screen. Come on.
Ryan, in addition to the audio, is there video at all?
Yeah. So there's a style of slide called a website slide, and so you could throw a YouTube video right in there if you wanted. And for that, you just you choose a slide and then choose the website you want to take them to. Spinning. All right. So what I want to do here is let's just pivot. You have the app. You've seen the template. Let's do a little bit of creation time. Tracy, do
Yes.
you want to give them a chance where they should go at the end of our session? And then I'll go there too, and we can kind of answer questions there. Otherwise, they've kind of seen they've seen how to build it, where to build it. And then that'll give me a chance to kind of just answer a few questions there and have some back and forth dialogue about Pear Deck without sitting here and waiting for the lag to catch up.
Sure. Yep. So I will put in the chat the lounge session link, as well as I will put your doc again that we shared at the beginning and the CEU link. Is there a place to grab clip art in here? Someone's asking.
Yeah, so you build it in Google Slides. So it's the same place you grab clip art. That's what I love about it. It extends the functionality of Google Slides. And so I'll use a extension called Noun Project. It's a great place for clip art, or any place you'd normally grab clip art, just in your Google Slides. All Pear Deck does is it takes the beautiful slide design that you put in slides, and it adds student engagement, student interactivity, right? So yes, that's a great place to add it, just as you normally would. So that's another reason why I love it, is because a lot of us are very familiar with building great presentations in slides already, and Pear Deck can just enhance that a little bit. All right. Well, if this is still rolling here, this is my process for using Pear Deck. Let's do this. I'm gonna try one thing here. Forget this. Let's just do this for now. Oh no, we're having connection
Ryan,
issues.
what do you call a wet bear?
I don't know. I'm very curious.
A drizzly bear.
I like that one a lot. Let's get rid of this. I am going to just pull up let's see if we can just get the slide deck going. That might work a little better. All right.
Oh, one question is there a place where teachers can like search for Pear Decks already made, like activities
Yeah.
on Seesaw? And
Great question.
that is true, correct?
Yeah, there's a place called the Orchard. And so they have, they've crowdsourced from other teachers that are using Pear Deck, and they've also kind of pre-built some. So, you know, I'd certainly direct them to the templates in the slide deck in the side, and then the Orchard. And I linked it in my presenter document. Okay, let's see if we can get this going here. So here is my my process for using Pear Deck and Google Meet. So when I want to host a synchronous lesson, this is what my workflow is. I'm a big believer in providing resources ahead of time, like my presenter doc. I'm hosting a synchronous session here, and then recording your session so that students can access it whenever they have time and space to do so. We just can't expect students to access things synchronously with us. You know, we use some of the tips we learned from Sean Beaverson this morning about community engagement to engage with our students, but you know, with an equity lens, I think we just always need to make whatever engagement we provide accessible asynchronously. So my process has been to start a Google session on Google Meet and to share that out with students. I use Google Classroom to do that. Then I start my Pear Deck presentation, and since I'm using Classroom, I will invite students with the Google Classroom integration. But if you're not using that, you could always just have them join as they join the Google Meet or Zoom call, if that's what you're using. And so then number 4 is I'll invite them in. Number 5 is I'll record that session so that I can post it in Classroom later for everyone to access. And then while I'm presenting in Google Meet, step 6 is I will share my screen. Right now I have a 2-monitor setup that I'm using. And so I'll share my second monitor that has my class facing screen on it. And then so that it's just like the monitor in my room, or if you have a smart board in your room and that's how you use Pear Deck, you kind of have that class facing screen. That's what I'll share with them so they can see. And then after my call, when I end it, I will not end the Pear Deck. I'll leave the session live as a student paced mode. You can click out of Pear Deck and leave it live and it'll still be running. If you click end, then the session will end. And I'll leave that for my students to be able to access as they wish. So then later, if my students so desire, they can go through the Pear Deck at their own rate and they can watch the video of me kind of teaching the lesson as they go through it. And so I have left a chance for you to build your own. Let me see if I can. Let me do this. So how many minutes do I have left, Tracy?
You have, it's 10:45. We have 3 more minutes and then we can go over to the lounge.
Great. So let me show you building a Pear Deck in 3 minutes. Sound good?
Sure.
Okay. So here's a great trick. If you type in slides.new, it'll create a brand new slide deck, right? Saved in my Google Drive already. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my add-on and go to Pear Deck. Right, as my Pear Deck slide comes up, I'm gonna choose the templates already. I'm gonna go to the beginning of the lesson. And what I wanna know is, what do you already know about today's lesson? So instead of wondering, I'm gonna ask you to access what you already think about it. So I'm gonna edit this slide a little bit. What do you already know about today's topic, which is Pear Deck? So I could leave that as today's topic, but I'm gonna do this, Pear Deck. All right. Now let's build another slide. And to do that, I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna look at a science question. I'm gonna ask you about I'm gonna ask you to give me your hypothesis about how the rest of the session is gonna go. What do you think the result of something like that, right? Now I have my 2 slides. Let's say that on this slide, I want to do a little welcome message to my students because I think they might access it asynchronously. I'm going to pull up the audio recorder here and I'm going to hit record. Say, hey, good morning, students. It's Mr. Clark. I miss you guys so much. Isn't distance learning just the pits? But I'm so glad I still get to be your teacher. Today I have a few slides about science. Click through them at your own rate and send me an email later that tells me how your day is going, right? And I love that slide. I'm a huge proponent of the one take video or one take audio because I could sit here all day and record it and re-record it and re-record it. But if my cat walks through the screen, I just go with the flow, right? And I put it right in there. So now I'm gonna hit add audio to slide. And then as my students are accessing this slide later, they'd be able to click on that. You can see audio included here. Now I know it's only 2 slides, but I'm gonna start it and I'm gonna turn it on student paced activity mode. And now, as this pulls up, I'll be able to share it right to Classroom with this button or send this link to my students on whatever LMS you use, and they'll be able to access it at their own rate, right? And I can pull up my teacher dashboard. When students are accessing this, you can't see it right now, but a blue silhouette will show up here that tells me how many students are currently on that slide, right? So if I had 10 slides, I can see the distribution of my class as they're progressing through those slides. And then if I hover on the silhouette, the blue silhouette, it'll tell me what student that is, right? And this is this teacher dashboard. So I'm gonna progress to the lounge and I promise to answer any questions there. Thanks for hanging with us with the technical laggy internet. And thanks for our MNDL team for organizing this event. And thanks for my audience for showing up. And thanks for Tracy for running our chat and being our moderator.
Yes. Thank you, Ryan, so much. And as people watch this too, it's a lot of information, but you can always go back, watch it, pause it, do it. And so I know some people had some questions. So if you want to go over to the lounge, I put that link in the chat or watch this later on. We got lots of jokes, Ryan, to add to your joke
Perfect.
toolbox. And again, thank you so much, everybody. And if you want, go to the lounge. If not, check out some other sessions. One thing, Ryan, is could you add your email to your session page? People wanted, I think, to reach out to you that
Yeah,
way
it's
as
in the
well.
slide deck. It's just ryan@educationandbeta.com. But I can add it to my page too.
Tracy, can
Awesome.
you?
Thank you.
Tracy, can you repost that towards the bottom of the chat, please? To the lounge?
Ryan's page. Yes,
No, the
I'll do both.
lounge link.
Yep.
Okay, hey everybody, this is Dave, one of your friendly planners for the summit. I'm going to go ahead and be closing out the room to get us ready for our next session. Have a great day.